Hey everyone, my name is Dean and welcome to Central Nervous System's Acumatica training class on banking and advanced cash management. Just going to give it a few more seconds to see if anybody else is coming in, but we are starting a couple minutes late today, so. Okay, right, let's continue. So for those that are new, we have weekly training classes that cover a variety of topics every week. Those training classes can be found at acumaticaengineering.com/acumatica-training. Every class, such as this one and others, will be recorded and available to you to review at acumaticaengineering.com/maintenance-classes. On the right-hand side here, we see that today we're going through, bank deposits, fund transfers, bank feeds, and bank transaction processing and reconciliation. Next week, we'll be tackling sales taxes review. And the following week, we'll touch on some project transactions. At the end of this class, there will be an opportunity to review any questions that might be asked during the course of this presentation. So please use the question box and submit those questions. We'll answer as many as we have time for. And if we don't have the answer or the time, we will post a follow-up video with those answers on our blog. And our blog can be found at acumaticaengineering.com/engineering-blog. Right, moving on, let's have a look at what we are going to be covering in today's session. So our agenda for today, we're going to be looking at bank deposits and fund transfers. We're going to then look at importing bank transactions and the options there. Looking at bank transaction processing and support of transaction matching for invoices. So some of the new logic that's been put in place by Acumatica to make things easier for you. We're going to look at bank feeds and then processing those bank transactions. And then finally, we'll look at bank reconciliations and using the reconciliation statement report to reconcile and make sure everything's looks good from a bank reconciliation standpoint as well as from a potential audit perspective. Okay. So, as per our agenda, bank deposits. So with bank deposits, we use bank deposits to track customer payments that you deposit into the bank in bulk. So for instance, we've got 10 checks that get deposited all at once, and those will appear on a bank statement as one total amount. We use clearing cash accounts called undeposited funds, which are used to hold payments drawn from customer AR accounts. We create a deposit in Acumatica and list within it all of the payments and cash that make up the physical deposit. We are able to apply fees or charges, either they're included or separate as a part of that deposit. We're then able to release the deposit in Acumatica once the deposit is physically dropped. So a batch of transactions to move the payment amounts from the clearing account to the bank account. So overall, it's a way of being able to sort out the 5 or 10 or 15 different payments that are all part of one deposit and then associate those different payments as one deposit to the different AR accounts, hold them into a clearing account, and once it's physically dropped as a deposit, it'll move those amounts from the clearing to the bank account. So let's have a look. Let's head into Acumatica here. So we head over banking. We've got bank deposits. So here's an example of a check that was deposited. Again, it's an old demo database, so we've got some old dates here, but if we drill into this, we see a large deposit outlining 3 different AR payments, 141,000 for AgriLink food, 116,000 for Elevation computers, and about 5K for Brass Key Bar. So those 3 different payments get totaled up to be a total cash drop of 263,000. They are held in a cash drop account of this undeposited funds, which is it's your clearing control account. Once the deposit is fully recognized, it will clear out of that account and, and hit our bank account. But in the meantime, the association of the payments within this bank deposit have drawn down the error balances for these 3 accounts. Yeah. So if there is a bank charge associated with this, we can add those charges here. So it could be a service fee or a wire fee that we may have to pay, or some sort of you know check fee. It could be included in the amount or separated, but it would be added in this section here. And but ultimately, the benefit of having this bank deposit function is to be able to recognize that a check has come through from our customers and draw down the AR balances right away. Put those payments into a holding queue for the bank to fully process that deposit and allow it to hit the bank statement. It's holding in this undeposited funds account until it gets finalized on the bank side, in which case it will come out of this account and hit our actual cash account. Okay. All right, so that's bank deposits. Let's move back into our presentation and chat about fund transfers. So fund transfers in Acumatica are used to transfer funds from one cash account to another, and it allows us to include related service charges that may be applied. It also allows us to transfer from cash accounts to other cash accounts with different currencies and include exchange rates that are used for the transactions. Typically, when you do move um, cash from, say, a Canadian account to a US account, or in this example here, a Singaporean account, the bank will specify with you the rate, and that will allow you to enter that rate on the fund transfers so that things reconcile the way they should when you get your bank statements. So let's have a look at that. So if we head back into banking over here and we go to fund transfers. All right, so let's have a look at a basic one over here. So this is a basic one. We see that in this case, I am withdrawing funds for petty cash. So I'm taking $2,000 US out of my company checking account, and I'm moving that to the petty cash account. The currencies are the same, so my exchange rate's set at 1. If this had gone If I had gone to the ATM to do this, I might have incurred a transaction fee for that. So I would be able to enter the fees down below, and uh, it would deduct, say, the $2.50 that you might get charged from the account, and and include that here so that your bank statements could then be reconciled appropriately. So this is a pretty basic one. USD to USD, checking account to petty cash. If we go back and we'll have a look, um, let's say at this transfer funds to the euro, we see that in this case, I'm taking $5 million US and I'm transferring it to euros. And I've specified the currency exchange rate here at 1.32027, so giving me 3.787 million euros. Again, if there was a wire fee or any other service charges related, you could include those below, and depending on which account gets charged those fees, included. Oops. So that's fund transfers. Okay, let's head back to our presentation. We're going to have a look now at some of the cash side of reconciling your bank accounts. So um, importing and the processed bank transactions is our next topic. Um, so in Acumatica, we have the option to import bank statements or use bank feeds to bring in bank transactions into Acumatica. So the importing bank statement function is typically done using the CSV output that you might get from your online bank account, exporting those transactions to a CSV file, and then importing it into Acumatica for you to then review. Once that CSV file is uploaded, you can then manually match or perform automatic matching of the transactions listed on the form to documents in the system over the same date range, resulting in the clearing of that document. You clear documents as a preliminary step before the actual reconciliation. Okay, so if we were to head into Acumatica and we have a look at what that looks like. So importing bank transactions. Okay, so this is our import of bank transactions. We've got a large one here. So this one, it looks like it's come through on from an Excel file or a CSV. It's been uploaded, and it now provides us with all of um, the details of that that extract, as well as the amounts, receipts, and disbursement information. The key with using a CSV file for importing bank transactions are going to be strong cutoff dates and timing, particularly making note of when transactions are being posted to the bank account. So those key areas of concern should be noted when uploading through a CSV file. Um, once this file is uploaded, uh, we can process transactions. So let's see if it'll allow us here. And when you've processed the transactions, it allows us to then go through each of the entries and match to either a payment or an invoice. So effectively ticking and bobbing your way through this list and hopefully clearing and matching all. So we might, let's see if we don't have any history in here, so nothing to really match against, but we will be able to select a particular line and match it to an invoice or a payment, or create a payment. Okay. So any lines that don't get matched will be stored in an unprocessed transaction category of the processed bank transaction. So here we see that there are a couple open unmatched documents. In this case, a checking account here. We've got that was the same one. Let's take a look at this savings account. We see that this savings account has a few entries that need to still be matched. So we're able to go back into it and make the matching when those payments or invoice documents are entered into Acumatica later. Okay. So let's head back into our presentation and review some of the key features of Acumatica's matching for invoices. So we did have a look at processing transactions. So the key feature here is on the import bank transaction form, the process transaction button allows for users to seamlessly match bank transactions to payments or invoices. The new form, there is a new form to give you a summary of transactions. So looking back at that process bank transactions, we've got our unprocessed transactions and all transactions, and it will provide us a summary of information here. So receipt count, disbursement count, unprocessed information. So there's some new key features that are part of Acumatica. So in current versions, invoices are selected for matching based on their due date or discount date. And the match relevance is calculated based on either of these dates. Users can now filter invoices for matching by cash account and by date. And they can specify a minimum value of match relevance for automatic matching of invoices and payments. The invoice matching section is used to filter selected invoice or as possible matches for transactions. So within the cash management preferences, we can set the days before, days after due, which essentially drive or help improve the logic behind what Acumatica will use to support automatic matching. So the auto match threshold section is used to find the best match during the auto matching process. So weights for relevance calculation, date range for relevance calculation, and expense receipt matching sections have been combined into the payment and expense receipt relevance section. So in this example, we've got for disbursement matching, we have days before the bank transaction date and days after the bank. So within, say, a -5 to +2 date range, it's going to be looking for disbursements within that range to match to payments. Same thing with receipts. 5 days before or 2 days after, it's going to be looking for the inbound funds to match to, I guess, payments made by customers. So that's some of the logic behind our automatic matching. next we'll be talking about bank feeds. So bank feeds, which is powered by Plaid, allows you to easily and securely connect to over 14,000 financial institutions without programming or complex field mapping. This now includes Canadian banks. So if you're a Canadian company and you need access to one of these major Canadian institutions, it is available now through bank feeds. So bank feeds connect your financial institution accounts to Acumatica and automatically import transactions in real time. This will also include those bank credit cards, such as a bank Visa, MasterCard, or Amex. We do have a separate video blog with more details on this. So if you're looking for that, please let us know and we can get you the information. So overall, bank feeds is a feature within Acumatica that makes importing those transactions a little bit more live and easier, um, allowing users to bring those statements directly into Acumatica. So let's review an example. Getting back into Acumatica here. All right, so without going into too much here, let's see. Feeds. So here I've got a demo bank feed. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so with this demo bank feed, we see that I'm connected to RBC, so Royal Bank of Canada. I've got 3 accounts within RBC that I am going to be regularly bringing in transactions from. I've got a checking, a saving, and a credit card. And with that, I'm able to mark or set some, I guess, defaults based on the typical charges that go through those accounts that I can then tag as expense the way we want to see them. So, for example, if my matching rules have any restaurants, I want that to be tagged as meals. If the field starts with any travel related on the bank statement, I want them to be marked as an expense for travel. If I have a specific vendor that is on the account, I want any of those charges to be marked as meals, in this case KFC. So every time I get a bucket of chicken and I see KFC on the statement, I want it to be marked as meals. So I am able to set up some matching rules for typical items that come through on these bank feeds within the checking, savings, or credit card statements. Um, the other thing here, I've got the other status. So within status, we can see the last time this was run, making sure that we keep a good eye on it. In this case, it's an old demo database, so 2021. But in reality, this is probably something that you want to set up um, to run on a more frequent timer basis. In this case, we've got 8 transactions that were last pulled in on the 21st. So again, some of the basic setup for connecting and being able to bring information in to Acumatica on a live basis. So if we head back into processing bank transactions, we see that there was a corporate credit card. And so This corporate credit card, all of this information uh, came through on the demo bank feed. So um, so if we were using the automatic matching, we would definitely, based on the matching rules that we set up, all of these KFC charges are definitely going to be coded as meals, but we don't have any expense receipts to match it against because they haven't been entered, but certainly those would be automatically tagged as meals. And then we have, travel here, United Airlines, those would be automatically tagged as travel. Okay. All right. So now that we've reviewed bank feeds, let's head back to our presentation and discuss some bank reconciliations. So bank reconciliations use a reconciliation statement form. You select a cash account, you select a reconciliation date, you specify the latest date for the transactions to be loaded, and you enter the balance from the bank statement as the statement balance. We then use the reconciliation statement report to review that reconciliation. So some of the key features of that allow you to see the starting bank statement balance, the cash account balance as of the statement date, which was previously the balance at the end of the financial period. We are able to see and list the total of unreconciled disbursements and receipts, and the list of total and reconciled disbursements and receipts. So here we see the reconciled, the unreconciled amount, and then the statement information. So let's go have a look at what that process looks like. So within reconciliation statements, I'll head into that. And this was the one that was on the presentation, so we could dive into that. So when we get our reconciliation, it's going to come through like this, essentially. And we have the option to load documents up to a certain date. So in this case, I've left it open just to show everything, but let's just say that our bank statement is as of um, the 15th of September. So we can do something like 9/15/2019, and we could do that. And then we could say, well, our statement balance, because this is a corporate credit card, it's negative. Our statement balance is $14.50 as of the statement date. Okay, so now I'm going through this and I'm saying, okay, well, what transactions make up this statement balance of $14.50? So we start ticking through. Okay, well, this one does. And as we tick through and reconcile, the statement or the reconcile balance updates and our difference starts to reduce. And our goal here is to get that difference down to zero. So this $400 charge, this $500 charge, this 100, and lastly this $200 charge. So we've got 5 quick checks and a GL entry, or sorry, 4 quick checks and a GL entry that make up this 1450 balance. And so now that I've reconciled these, my difference is 0. When I'm happy, I'm able to then release this reconciliation, and that would be it for reconciliation on this particular date. To verify that, then you could move into the reconciliation statement report. So when we head into the report, we're going to look up the account. So this is only going to give us accounts that have reconciliations available. So in this case, I'm going to choose my corporate credit card, and I'm going to choose that reference number reconciliation. So here I've got the toggle that show the reconciled transactions or not. I'm going to click it and let's run the report. So if I left that checkbox unclicked, I would not see this information. So again, I've got my reconciled disbursements, 5 items, 1450. Statement ending balance, 1450. Unreconciled receipts, 1450, and a difference of 0. I've got a balance of 1450 here, and these are the 5 details that make up this 1450 unreconciled or reconciled disbursements. These are the details. Okay, let's go have a look at another one. Let's look at a bigger one. It's probably something that's going to be well out of balance, but these are all closed. Okay. So in this particular one, we got some big numbers here: 43 million beginning, reconciled receipts 65 million, reconciled disbursements 47, statement balance 62. So this is one where quite a number of transactions were ticked through to get our balance differences down to 0. Now this might be something where you just, you click all and you go through and you unmark the ones that shouldn't be included, rather than maybe clicking every one of them, because there's quite a few. But this can be done en masse. Right? Let's go look at another reconciliation statement. So if I were to check out our company checking account, and let's look at this one here. So this one's unbalanced, hasn't been completed yet, so that's why we've got a difference of 95,000. We've got a whole number of unreconciled receipts that haven't been checked off yet, or marked against or reconciled for, and that's why they list here. Is there a second page? Yep. So 43 items left to be checked off there, giving us our difference. If I were to run this again with the reconciled transactions, I'd get that third page. So on the second page here, so our reconciled disbursements, we've got 1.3 million. Reconciled receipts, 6.4 million. So an excellent way of being able to pull down a reconciliation statement for audit purposes, should we need to do so after the bank's been reconciled. All right, heading back into our presentation brings us to near the conclusion. So today we reviewed bank deposits, we reviewed fund transfers, being able to move between cash accounts, either in similar currency or multi-currency fashion. We discussed importing bank transactions and reviewed the bank transaction processing. We discussed some of the transaction matching for invoices and bank feeds. And finally, we wrapped up with bank reconciliations and the reconciliation statement report. So again, weekly training classes covering different topics. Thanks for joining today. Next week, we do have a sales tax review on the following week. Actually, not the following week, April 20th. The following week is a holiday week, Good Friday weekend. So we won't be doing anything then, but on the 20th, we've got project transactions. I don't see any questions today, but this recording will be available to you at acumaticaengineering.com/maintenance classes. Again, thank you for joining and have a good day.